Rock Hill's history, going back to its founding in 1852, through the Civil War, was just a small little village with a railroad track that went through it. But during Reconstruction, a lot of the cotton that was grown in the area had to go somewhere to find a train depot to take it north. Well, they have some important community members in our town. One of them in particular, his name is J.M. Ivey. And J.M. Ivey was the one that really helped spearhead the ability for us not to ship all that cotton up north. Let's open a cotton factory. And he and some other leaders in town created the Rock Hill Cotton Factory. And that's what sparked the textile boom in Rock Hill that got us off the farm, became the textile town we were for the next 100 years or so. That cotton factory building is the building that Gary and his partner rehabilitated for us to bring it back to life for what it is today. So that it's interesting how Gary talks about standing on shoulders of the past. And one of them he stood on was J.M. Ivey.
And J.M. Ivey had a partner by the name of Hutchison.
Yeah.
So one of his great-grandfathers was very much in Holler and Roddy. All those old Rock Hill names were all the key names, and they made it for generations. And, Chip's names keeps coming. A lot of them, end up having only daughters, and they change names and everything. But the Roddy name is still very prominent, but the Hutchinson name, of course, is still very prominent as part of all. They were all started banks together. They started 8 or 9 mills in the 1880s, but Rock Hill Cotton Factory was first mill.
It started it, and then in 1920 or so, there was a huge cotton depression, and a lot of the mills had to close down. And another shoulder that Gary's standing on is a gentleman named Charlie Cobb, who actually went up to New York City, and Gary can tell this story, talked to a gentleman named Mr. Lowenstein to bring the plant down here to create what we've known as the Bleachery for all these years, which was the biggest employer in Rock Hill through most of the 20th century. So it's interesting how the cotton factory to the Bleachery, Gary's got his DNA in that to bring it back to what's going to be today.
It's interesting, Joel, the history that a lot of our friends may not know is John Gary Anderson had built cars here, 175,000 buggies. That shut down in 24, 25. And so virtually nobody in Rock Hill was employed. There was nothing good happening from 25 to 29 in Rock Hill, except the citizens went together and built the Andrew Jackson Hotel, which is now the Guardian Fidelity Building. But they all paid $25, $50, and they wanted something positive for Rock Hill, so they built a hotel. And then till 29, and he's right, Charlie went up there, he met people, he had worked with people, and they came down and looked at it and chose Rock Hill. So 400 people were guaranteed jobs. By 1936, 1,600 people were working there. And by the mid-50s, 5,500 people were working on that site. 1 out of 4 York County citizens, 1 out of 4 Rock Hill citizens were employed there. So that was the mill, without a doubt. That ran Rock Hill in a lot of ways. So, that where we're rebuilding now, that was 5,500 people, plus all the families and children that affected that.
It's funny how it kind of all comes full circle to be another spark for redevelopment. But